morning to everybody present here and everybody watching remotely. We are starting 3 minutes late because we were waiting for Dr. Mashazi. Apologies for the late start. Yes, Ms. Silva.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, Commissioners. Commissioners, today we continue with the EMPD stream. And we have testifying before us this morning, Dr. Imogen Mashazi. Chair, may I request that she be sworn in? I have checked with Dr. Mashazi. She'll prefer an affirmation.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Perhaps please use both mics.
Okay,
and,
good morning,
and turn both of them towards you like that.
Okay.
Thank you. Doctor, do you affirm? Oh, please place your full names on record, Doctor. Your full names on record, please.
Okay. My full names are Mabuikanyo Imogen Mashazi.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Before you start, Ms. Silva, I will address this both to you, Doctor, and to your legal representatives. Going through your statement, we noticed that you referred to prejudice as a result of having received material necessary for your response late. You say that an extension of time given by Ms. Silva ameliorated the situation. Well, ameliorate does not mean eliminate. So that means the prejudice and yours, and indeed later in your statement or a few. Am I speaking softly? I see you straining yourself.
I'm battling to hear you.
Oh gosh! But you've heard everything thus far, have you?
Yeah, so far.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Am I better now?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So later in your statement, you do say in so many words that there is still prejudice. I have a suggestion, in fact, after responses, whether from you or the legal representatives, you may confer. I'm addressing myself to the legal representative. You may confer with Dr. Mashazi. Minded to then order as follows. I think what prejudice may still be remaining, as you say, it does, should be cured by affording you an opportunity to supplement the statement that you have already submitted. And I'm minded to give you until Monday of next week to submit that supplement. Who is the lead legal representative? Yes. No, you may address it. Yes.
It's Mr. Musa, initial ZM.
Yes.
I speak on behalf of Dr. Mashazi. With regards to...
Oh gosh, maybe we should have a microphone and I'll ask you to please start over. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, initial ZM, surname Musa, legal representative of Dr. Mashazi. With regards to the aspect of prejudice, I think, and based on my previous discussions with our client, we would have no objection to the opportunity to supplement should the need arise. Under the circumstances, we obviously done the best that we could. In order to compile and go through the evidence already before the Commission, obtain a version. The difficulty we face is Dr. Mashazi is no longer the city manager, and her access to certain information is limited, restricted, and due to time constraints, we didn't have sufficient opportunity to obtain it. However, as the day unfolds, we'd obviously be in a better position to see whether there would be a need or not to do a supplementary statement. But we thank you, and we're happy with the opportunity to do a supplementary, should it be.
When will you indicate? At the end of the day when we adjourn?
I think towards the end of the day would be appropriate.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please indicate at whatever point you consider convenient whether you will be taking up that opportunity.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, Mr.
Merci.
Minister. Thank you very much. Thanks. Yes, Mr. Lulu.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And perhaps on that very score, before then I engage the witness on her testimony, I should place on record that during the course of consultation, Dr. Mashazi did indicate that she was experiencing some disadvantage in that she's no longer with the city, the council, and her access to documentation is limited. So in the course of consultation, where she felt that there was further documents belonging to the city, we undertook that to the extent that she can definitively describe them, that the Commission will endeavor to obtain them directly from the city, and then they shall be furnished to her. And perhaps as an exercise then we should be able to complete to enable her to include references to those documents in the supplementary that the Chair says must be filed by Tuesday.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
That will further assist in making sure that there will be no prejudice. Something I forgot to emphasize, Doctor, is that the last thing I would want to see is for any person, any witness, to leave this commission feeling that they were prejudiced. More than once, I have said in so many words that no person will be prejudiced by this commission's processes. So that's why I'm saying, to avert any possible prejudice, we as a commission are offering you the opportunity that I referred to earlier. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Mashazi, just to confirm, you prepared a statement together with certain documents for this commission. Is that correct?
Correct.
You have, and ignore for the moment the files to your right, but you must have before you two files. If we look at the spine of both files, your name should appear, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, and the one should read statement, and the other file should read annexures. Do you confirm you have them?
Yes, I do.
Now, I would like to refer you to the file marked statement.
Yes.
So in the course of your testimony, we will be referring to both. But each time I want you to have regard to the one, I will specifically identify it as a statement file or the annexure file. Your annexures, perhaps let me start here. Referring to the statement file, there is a document in there. The index describes it as a statement of Dr. Imogen Mashazi. It's a 27-page document. Please refer to that document and confirm that that is the statement you say you prepared.
Correct.
I'll turn your attention, please, to page 27. On page 27 is a signature above your name, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, dated 30th November 2025. Do you confirm that is your signature?
Correct.
Do you confirm the correctness of the content of the statement?
Yes, I do.
And do you stand by the contents of the statement?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Let's turn then to the start of your statement, which starts at paragraph 1, under the heading Introduction. Under introduction, you speak very briefly about yourself, and I would like you to summarize the key aspects of that chapter. I invite you to talk freely, or to the extent that it's necessary, you may read some aspects in the paragraphs between paragraphs 1 and 6.
Thank you very much. Good morning to the Commissioner and good morning to Evidence Leader and the partner and the media out there and communities out there. I will start by saying that I am 65 years of age. I reached my retirement age in July 2025. That is when I left the city. I worked for the city for the past, in fact, for local government for the past 36 years. I started the city of Ekurhuleni, coming from elsewhere, Springstown Council, which is now part of Ekurhuleni. I was part of the amalgamation of the city, for the city to be what it is today, to be called the City of Peace.
No. Apologies. Before I pose my first question to you, I guess I should apologize in trying to address the issue of potential prejudice you may have suffered. I inadvertently omitted to greet you this morning, and I do apologize. And thank you for the greeting, and I warmly return it. You indicate then at your paragraph 1 and 4 that you served as a city manager for the city of Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality until you attained the age of 65 on the 17th of July 2025.
Correct.
You indicate that you retired. I need to understand whether your retirement is in terms, was that a mandatory retirement? And whether your retirement necessitated a payout of your contract as it stood at the time?
I was appointed, I need to indicate to the Commission that I was appointed for 2 terms in the city of Ekurhuleni. I completed the first term in 2021, and in 2022, I was reappointed again for another 5 years. Because I was going to reach the retirement age before end of my contract, the then Mayor Tanya Campbell applied to the Minister for a waiver for me to work until the age of 65 or until the end of the contract. Well, at the point of retirement, when the new mayor came in, he mentioned that he's not interested in pursuing this. But obviously, because of the relationship I had, it was not a good relationship, I must indicate. Because I worked with him in the previous term while he was the MMC Finance. We had our own differences because I do not take illegal instructions anyway. So he decided that I must actually vacate. He called me to a meeting in September, I think it was 13 September, that I must take special leave until end of December. And then after December, he will actually, with his own ANC comrade in that meeting, 2 of them, I must take special leave, and then in December they'll review the payout for the remaining 6 months, forgetting that I have a two years until the end of my contract. In that meeting, I indicated to him that I have a 5-year contract which is legal, and the process of a waiver from the minister is not yet complete. The minister is still waiting for you to respond in terms of the new systems of delegation. So therefore, I'm not going to take special leave, and no one can force special leave on anyone. I will retire at the age of 65, which is July next year. It was the 13th of September. Then he said, yes, we want new leadership and whatever. But I agreed that you want new leadership, I am prepared to actually help and train whoever that you want to be appointed as a new city manager. I went through the process, and I also agreed that I'll be at the background of assisting the new city manager, the potential new city manager, to be appointed, so that I assist him to go through the process. To be an accounting officer of a big city like Ekurhuleni is quite difficult, because to run plus minus 26 departments, you are in charge of more than 18,000 employees. You're dealing with 224 councillors at a time. And there are a lot of programs, litigations, and so forth. So you need to prepare someone. You need to be quite experienced to be an accounting officer. And I was prepared to train that person, and I started training that person. But the issue of the contract, my retirement, when we're I was left with only 1 month, obviously. It was in June, when I was supposed to retire end of July. The mayor took the report to council, and then in that report, it was about mutual separation, that they must pay me out the remainder of 2 years of my contract, and that I leave the city. And the attachment into the report, it was a report about the appointment of the new accounting officer, which I did not have a problem with. During the meeting, well, the recommendation, everything changed. There was no longer mutual separation. The mayor proposed that I must be put on special leave just for 1 month. And I asked myself a question: what is the hurry of getting me out of the system? Then I refused to take that special leave. I remained in my position, but still complying and assisting the young men to actually adjust into the new rule. End of July, there was a farewell party, which was attended by all the HODs, and in their speeches, all of them, they actually thanked me for actually nurturing them and actually molding their careers, because I've been in the system forever. I worked in different roles as a director, HOD for 2 terms, COO, then city manager for two terms. So they were actually appreciative. And all of them, they called me Mama. And also in their speeches, they called me Mama. The media was there. In May, the mayor was also present. It was my last day when I announced that I'll be retiring end of July. When I was closing my program for women in uniform, the mayor was there, was appreciative, and I was also launching my book about my history and my journey in the city of Ekurhuleni. So the issue of payment, it was never done, and that is how I left the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. So I understand then you retired in the normal course.
Mandatory age.
When you reached the mandatory retirement age, and there was no quote-unquote payment in respect of your departure from the city. Thank you for that clarification. I then turn to your second heading, named Background Service History, which you start from page 2.
Maybe before you do that, Ms.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes. Good morning, Dr. Mashas. Paragraph 3, in the light of what the chairperson has said about giving you further opportunity to supplement, I suppose paragraph 3 then must be amended somewhat, because in there, and maybe for the record, let me say what it says. It says, to the extent that I fail to deal with any allegations made against me by previous witnesses who have appeared at this commission in either their statements or during oral testimony, same is denied. And then the next sentence, you explain why. You say you've not had the opportunity. Now, in the light of the opportunity that you've been given, I guess you will then deal with a matter that you were contemplating in that first part of the paragraph. Is that correct?
Correct.
Just to be sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. From your paragraph 7, page 2, to paragraph 34, you deal with your extensive service history, I'll say in the local government sphere. You start in 1999 when you joined the predecessor of the current city of Ekurhuleni Metropolitan. And you take that through to your day of retirement, and you highlight your achievements while you served the city, without necessarily reading in everything that you have said out in paragraphs 7 to 35. Would you like to highlight some of those aspects and speak to these issues?
Well, I need to indicate that I appreciated the fact that I was the first female city manager to serve in the city of Ekurhuleni, and for me it was a history and a milestone. But be that as it may, as a female, we always face obstacles of male chauvinism, especially in local government. Well, I tried my best. I started as an HOD, Health and Social Development. I built the state-of-the-art clinics in the city, especially in the previously disadvantaged areas. And that model was copied by City of Cape Town, eThekwini, and so forth, and improved the general well-being of people in the city of Ekurhuleni in terms of the health programs that are introduced. I further served as a COO, and the city received an award in terms of a customer satisfaction survey, where we became #1 and Cape Town was #2. And during my tenure as well, the city received 3 back-to-back clean audits, because it was my intention while I was the COO to ensure that we tighten our internal controls, we improve our governance. Clean audit is not about financial performance. Clean audit is about service delivery. It's about financial performance as well as service delivery performance indicators. Those two are actually meshed, and that's why we're able to get an award for being the best city in terms of customer satisfaction survey and in terms of service delivery. And during my tenure as well, we've built a lot of reservoirs. We've actually electrified informal settlement, which was a new thing. We've done so a lot for the communities during the first term of office of Mayor Mzwandile Masina. To be honest, in this new term of office, I was faced with turmoil of criticism, social media insults. There was a social media open just for me to be insulted. I must indicate that I'm the only city manager who was mostly insulted through social media platforms. Well, I think I have produced a lot of HODs. I've trained them. I've worked with them since the inception of the metro, including the chief of police, and I'm glad that I have left the city with capable men and women who can take the city forward. I think a lot of awards are in my CVs. The Leader in Good Governance Africa it was a recent award that the city achieved before I left the city, and it is all over in the media.
The CV you referred to is annexure IM2
Yes.
to your statement, and it appears from page 3 of your annexures. Is there anything in particular you would like to highlight for the commissioners in regard thereto?
The one that I want to highlight in terms of the annexure is the fact that when I entered the city, women were complaining, especially in the EMPD. For me, it's a milestone. They were complaining that they're not being promoted. For them to be promoted, they must actually sleep with those men. And if you looked at the salary staff complement of the department, most of the senior position, from your chief, it was a male, deputy chief, all males. executive managers, all males. Females were there at the chief officers and superintendent and inspectors. Those were the levels where women were actually kept. So I decided to start that program to ensure that women are empowered, to encourage them to take up bursaries, and also ensure that when positions are opened for them, they are able to actually challenge those positions because they are educated enough to take up the challenges, and encourage them not to allow these men to actually abuse them sexually. They can only be appointed when they qualify, and they can do the job as well as their male counterparts are doing. So for me, it's a milestone, and this is one of the highlights that I wanted to actually bring forward to the commission. And for me, as a female, I think I did very well for that. And the program ran for 7 years, obviously, during my tenure.
Thank you for that highlight, which is an important one, particularly for women in the workplace. I am still on your CV, and even in your statement, we refer to you as Dr. Mashazi.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that doctor as in a medical doctor, or is it an academic? Okay, if we go to page 4 then, still with IM2, your CV. I see that your highest qualification is that, please, I see the highest being Masters in Nursing Science from the Rand Afrikaans University. Now there is one still, more still. Bachelor degree in DLITTET field, Nursing Science. Where is the doctoral degree?
Yeah,
here?
is the
How am I-
DLIT,
Please say that again.
is the DLIT Doctor of Literature and Philosophy in the
Okay.
nursing field, in nursing education.
It is rather confusing when you call it a bachelor's degree.
No, it's not. I'm sure it's a type.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, and that you acquired in 2002?
Yes.
Okay, now we clarified. Okay, thank you for that, and thank you for giving such an extensive background to your service in the city. You say you served 2 terms as the city manager.
Yes, ma'am.
So the contract that would have expired in 2027, that would have been the 3rd term. Am I correct?
No, it's the second term.
The 2nd term. So when did your first term start again?
In 2016, November,
And that would have run to 2021.
2021.
So the second would have been 2022 to
Yes,
2027.
Correct.
Except you didn't get to serve the full 2nd term because it was interrupted by the mandatory retirement.
Yes.
Okay. I've caught up. Thank you. I then am at page 6 of your statement. You can go through the other pages prior to that, just to make sure that you have highlighted everything that you wanted to. This is regarding your service history within the municipality. Because as I get to your page 6, paragraph 35, I'm turning to a slightly different issue. Are you happy?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. At paragraph 35, you start with the engagement you've had from the first day with the commission, following the evidence or testimony of Deputy Chief of Police Rivo Spies, Chief Isaac Mapieye, and Kolani Prince Ngiza. So that testimony had been led publicly. And you indicate and you attach a letter marked IM3. IM3 appears in your annexure documents, the annexure file, dated the 14th of November, 2025. Page 10, under tab IM3.
Yes.
That is the letter you referenced at paragraph 35.
Yes.
Now, in the context of the conversation you had with the chair earlier regarding potential prejudice you may have suffered, even though ameliorated, and the offer made to you to file a supplementary statement should the need arise. I highlight that the document that you specifically attach, this was addressed to the Madlanga Commission at behonest.co.za. This is the hotline. Is that correct?
Correct.
It's only this, the subsequent letter, IM5, which was then addressed specifically to the secretary.
Correct.
So IM4, my mistake. IM4 at page 12. And that one is dated the 20th of November 2025. So the first letter, the only point I seek to make was that it went to a hotline. You used the hotline, your attorneys then used the hotline email address.
Yes.
And if you check the second letter at page 12, it is directed specifically to the secretary here in the commission and two other persons who are attorneys to the commission. Now, in that context, and again, remembering the conversation you had with the chair, is there anything you would like to add to your next two topics? The first headed, starting at paragraph 37, brief timeline to steps taken since testimony given falsely implicating me, read together with the next one, starting from paragraph 43, prejudice suffered.
Thank you very much. The first letter, page 10, it was written by my husband, who's an attorney. By then, he was frustrated about all the allegations that were made against me. Then he took upon himself to write, but after discussing with him that it will be like a conflict of interest, me protecting myself through him, let me sort the services of neutral attorneys. And the neutral attorneys, therefore, were given a mandate, instruction to actually assist me, the Pierre Karim, the attorneys that are here present. In terms of the prejudice, I need to indicate that the time given to me to actually prepare with the attorneys, because we received the statements and the transcripts on the 25th or 26th, and we were expected to appear on the 28th. And for us, the time was limited to actually prepare, to assist, in order to assist the commission to come to a conclusion in terms of the matter at hand. Hence, we raised those issues. Fortunately, we're given that extension of like 2 days, which is Saturday and Sunday. And my attorneys, I think, they went to Sun City for their year-end function, and they had to come back. And obviously, as a pensioner, I had to wake up at 3, read documents and so forth. Like, my head is now cluttered from the pressures of this thing, but be that as it may, we are here, and we are prepared to respond to some of the issues. We'll try to respond to the issues as much as we can, but we also appreciate the time that we are given to actually express our opinion in terms of the responses and the allegations that we made against me.
Thank you for that, Doctor. I must say that we didn't have the opportunity, unfortunately, to have a year-end function in Sun City. And I'm sorry you had to be waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm sure you'll appreciate where our whole Sunday, some of us, ended up, which is yesterday. Thanks. Okay, we will try to move as slowly as possible, particularly through the documents that emanate from the Commission when reference is made to them. As I indicated in consultation with you, we attempted to do that exercise with you as much as we could, but admittedly the time pressures perhaps denied us an opportunity to do so thoroughly. So in this hearing, to the extent that we will call up the annexures to the statements of the witnesses that you referenced, that you say falsely accuse you, you shall be given an opportunity to consider the document before you have to answer questions in relation thereto. Should it become impossible to do it, you will indicate, and the chair, I'm sure, will come to your aid. Okay? You then have a new chapter from page 8, which you've titled "For the Attention of the Commission." And I'm starting at page 8 at paragraph 50. That chapter runs from paragraph 50. In fact, it's a 150 with two sub-paragraphs, 50.1 and 50.2. Would you like to talk to those issues that you raise under that heading?
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. In terms of issues that I want to raise with the Commission, is that from my side as an accounting officer, as I indicated that during the meet and greet exercise as a newly appointed female city manager, I was approached by female officers in the EMPD that are being harassed and are not promoted to senior positions. Rather, they should sleep with them for, it's not only attributed to chief only, it is a practice of everyone. But for me, because there was no formal complaint from any one of them, I could not take action. Mine was to create a platform for them to be empowered so that they're able to be promoted. And I've actually attached the statistics of my program, almost 8-year program of empowering women in uniform. It is called a City Manager Legacy Project. It is part of my key performance indicators in terms of my performance contract, where I initiated this program because there was no initial complaint. It was just a hearsay and their frustration. And quietly so, I had to create this program. And this program was actually celebrated every year. And the chief of police was actually invited in that program, where all these female officers who obtained their junior degrees, national certificate, we even have one who graduated a PhD degree. Last year, is it early this year? With a PhD degree, one junior official in the EMPD. She's at the inspector level with that PhD. We have others with masters, others with junior degrees, others with national diplomas. That is how the program was structured. And in terms of promotion, I can actually boast and say that we have actually appointed a lot of them or promoted a lot of them into higher positions up to director level. There was one that we attempted to appoint as a deputy chief of police, but she declined because the contract is a 5-year contract and she's a single parent. That is how far I wanted to go. And it is my wish, and it was my wish, and it is still my wish that one day we should have a female chief of police so that women are also given an opportunity to occupy senior positions, especially in the previously male-dominated environment. So we've done that exercise, but over and above that.
Is it previously, or is it not still dominated by men?
I've tried in that
No,
department.
you are saying it's previously, as if now everything is on par.
No, it's not on. It's not. But I've tried my best to
All right.
actually.
I'm not criticizing you.
Yeah.
I'm just correcting your language in saying it was previously dominated by men. I'm not there. I'm not at the Guruleni, but I would imagine that it must still be dominated by men. That's the probability.
Oh, thank you very much, Commissioner, for that correction. Yes, the profession is still male-dominated, but as the then female accounting officer, I tried to actually normalize the situation, but I have not reached where I wanted to be. It was also reported to me that the chief of police, Isaac Mabeya, fathered multiple children with subordinates who were vulnerable to his abuse of power, including conduct amounting to sexual harassment, coercion, and rape. I will address this when I deal with question, is it question 10? Question 9, where I was requested to submit his suspension letter. Is it 10?
I think if you go at page 9,
It's page 9, yeah.
the last
Those
sentence
allegations.
of that first paragraph, you reference question 13
Yeah.
of the statement, yes.
All right. The pattern of behavior described is deeply troubling and reflects a systematic abuse of authority by the chief of police. And he used to call them amangilos. He calls them amangilos, like angels. Those who are angels, these are the ones who are actually promoted. And if you look at the promotion of Tepa, who actually testified here, you can see that she was promoted within a short period of time as compared to others who have more qualifications, who were there before her, who were appointed before her as EMPD officials. So for me, this kind of practice gave me sleepless nights. And I feel that with the program that I created, at least it alleviated some pressure from these women. But there are those who are actually part of the whole thing, whom he called angels or amangilos. I also record concern relating to...
Just to make sure I understand the point you are making here, are you saying that he had sexual relations with amangilos or the angels,
Amangelos.
and that as a result, the angels would then be promoted?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Or would be favored for promotion?
Exactly.
All right.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Doctor, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Are you stating that as a fact or it's a rumor that you heard? I'm sure you were watching news in the last few weeks. You would have heard about a term called mabaribari. Mabaribari.
It's not a mabarbar. I've been in the system. I know about these things.
But I'm saying, are you stating it as a fact or as something that you heard?
It's something that I heard, but he will answer and they will come, and if they're called, they can come and testify, those that have been abused. Classical example is about a witness that chief has been suspended for sexual harassment as well as rape. If that is a classical example, she'll come and confirm. But she requested that she wants to come and be interviewed by the commission, but outside camera. She doesn't want to be in camera because of her children and so forth. But she has prepared her file, and I think she has also written to be interviewed by the panel to indicate her treatment under the chief of police. So I will also talk to it when I address the issue of his suspension, how it happened. The letters from the doctors, I've attached them from her doctors, and the letters from the attorneys that represents her. So it is important to know that some of these things, they are not just said in a vacuum or under mabaribari. It is confirmed by a case that is being opened against him, the case of rape, and also there is a protection order against him. And for him to come here and behave as if he's a victim while he's a perpetrator of women abuse, it's a shame, to be honest.
Dr. Mashazi, you speak in paragraph 50 and in your explanation of a wide-scale program.
I want to talk to this one. This one, chief of police being chief of police.
Can I just ask you my question, and then you can speak to what you want to speak to? I started to ask you a question, please. My question is, you speak of a pervasive problem, and in the plural, you say angels and suggesting improper relationships. Is there a particular reason that you mention only Lieutenant Colonel Tipper, who testified in her testimony, spoke about you or your office at least? You are not mentioning anyone else as part of the crowd of people that you say the chief had improper relationships with.
I want to focus my discussions and my evidence in terms of people who have been here and people who actually made allegations. Tepa, she was one of my protectors at some point, introduced by Chief, part of my team of protection. I had 8 males protecting me, and Chief withdrew one and introduced Tepa. And these other males were saying, but Mama, your office and your safety is actually questionable. Why do you allow Chief to bring this one? She's not going to help us. We need to be combat ready to protect you. Then I asked Chief, what is the reason of you? No, she's good. She's one of my angels. That is how he explained. He's one of his angels. And in terms of, if you go to Ekureni, they will tell you about amangelosi, what amangelosi means or angels means in terms of Chief's definition. So she is part of the angels here, of Chief's angels.
Yes, you've said that. You've said she's one of the angels. My question to you is, she's testified against you. She said unflattering things about you. You are not mentioning anyone else by name of those angels. And what are we to make of it, that you speak specifically to someone who's testified against you? And I think you have just said now that, she comes here to pretend she's an angel, when in fact she's part of a network of people that are being abused by the chief. It may well be that is so, and I'm not saying that's not so because I don't know any better. It may well be. I'm asking the simple question that you mention her specifically, where you speak in the plural about angels. You're not mentioning anyone else. Is there a particular reason that you mention her and she happens to be someone who testified against you?
Thank you for the question. I'm not mentioning her because she was part of the people who made allegations about me, but I'm speaking about her and confirm because her name is already here, and Chief has actually introduced her to me as one of his angels. That is the reason why I'm mentioning her alone.
Okay. Can I just follow up on that? You also, on my question at least, you say at 50.1, you say it has been widely reported to me that Chief fathered children with subordinates. And in your oral evidence, you say you came to know that there was a problem in the MPD where you're not suggesting Chief is the only one. Chief Mapia was the only one that is guilty of those kind of complaints. Correct. You're not suggesting that?
Correct.
Okay, but you're mentioning only him.
I'm mentioning Chief because there's a case about him, about sexual harassment.
Yes.
And also rape.
Yes. You do
I
discuss
can't mention
that.
others because there was never a case that was brought to my attention about rape or sexual harassment. And I could not, as I indicated when I started that, I could not charge anyone about the practice in EMPD. Instead, as a female accounting officer, I decided to create a program to empower these women.
Okay. Maybe lastly, let me ask, you are the municipal manager at the time.
Yes.
In fact, before that, you were the chief operating officer.
Exactly.
And then you become the municipal manager. In one of those two roles, you become aware that there are problems in EMPD, but you do no investigation. You don't appoint, you have the power to appoint. You don't appoint anyone to look into these serious allegations. You carry on until there's an allegation of the person that you discuss later on. There's a formal complaint, but the rest of the time, you carry on
Thank you very much.
without taking any action to look into these serious allegations that you should be addressing. I expect that the municipal manager takes it seriously enough, that if you get this pervasive or this suggestion that it's a systemic problem in the EMPD, a responsible municipal manager would take action to investigate it further, and you don't seem to have done that.
Thank you very much. As I indicated at the beginning of my statement, when I said it was a general comment from a group of women, and there was no one with a formal complaint. Remember, you can't just investigate without a formal complaint, without anyone signing an affidavit or writing a grievance to you. You can't just, you're going to investigate everyone. What I reasonably did as an accounting officer, as a city manager, I had to create a program to deal with the systemic issue. I cannot just investigate people and say, yeah, there is this allegation that you guys, you are abusing these women, they are not promoted and so forth. I did a reasonable thing as an accounting officer to create that platform for women to be promoted and empowered.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Dr. Mashazi, if I may. Yes, Chair.
Just before that, it's a follow-up to the questions by my co-commissioner, Commissioner Baloyi. You say it has been widely reported to you. When exactly did you get the reports?
It was, as I indicated, that it was a verbal, when I started as an accounting officer. These things were reported to me by this group of female officers that the chief is fathering.
Please remind me, when did you become the city manager? I know it's here, but...
Yeah.
2016.
Yes.
So in 2016, you hear that Chief Mapie is not only having improper sexual relationships with the women police officers, but is even raping some of them and harassing others sexually, even using coercion on them. I assume that's coercion for purposes of having sex with them? This is, you get to hear this in 2016. And all you do, unless I misunderstand you, so all you do is to create a platform for women to be promoted. That's all you do.
To be empowered, number one, and to be promoted as well. Remember, if there's no formal complaint, how do you start investigating people? That's why I'm referring to the paragraph where I deal with specific sexual harassment, where there's a formal complaint.
Are you suggesting that as a leader you get reports of such horrendous acts by the chief of police? You sit back and fold your arms instead of being proactive. You fold your arms and say, there are no complaints to me. Why can't you be proactive and do the best you can to get to the bottom of the reports that you have received, reports of such horrendous acts by the chief of police?
Maybe it is a foresight from my side, but as an accounting officer, if there's no formal complaint, how do I remember in terms of our processes in council, I must have a formal complaint like I received, that there is this thing happening.
But what was your sense? Wasn't your sense that this was something systemic?
Yes, it was something
it's ongoing. It's ongoing. There are children out of improper sexual relations. There's coercion, meaning those that are not willing to have, even willing perhaps is not a good word, in this context. So there's even coercion to have sexual relations with those that will not have sexual relations with him. There are rapes. You just fold your arms, sit, and wait for complaints. Is that the way an accounting officer, a chief executive officer should act?
Commissioner, as I indicated that I cannot just from a hearsay that there are this thing. I had to wait because there are processes in council. You can't just say there is this general view about an individual, therefore I'm investigating this individual. I must have something in writing that this person has complained about 1, 2, 3. Then I must write a report to council and ask council to give me permission to investigate, to suspend and investigate an individual. I could not unilaterally hearing from them as a group saying there is this thing happening. And I know that as an accounting officer.
Who did you get the reports from?
It was female officers.
Was it the affected women officers?
Affected women officers in the department.
So that's not hearsay. It's people who are affected
but
telling you.
They must do it in writing.
Sorry, Doctor. Is the affected women telling you that this is happening to us? There's nothing hearsay about that. There's nothing hearsay about that.
I take your point.
So basically you did nothing, having received information about such horrendous acts by the chief of police. You just sat and did nothing.
I take your point that doing that program, it's not enough from the point of an accounting office. I take your point.
Thank you, Doctor.
I think, Doctor, it's more than the program is not enough. I think it's as specific as you receive word from women who speak to you. Because you raise it to a formal level, they tell you, we have a problem. And it's not just the chief, according to your evidence. They say the men in EMPD, this is what they do. What in fact it is you did nothing about that. Your explanation for doing nothing about it is you say, well, I didn't have any formal written complaints or allegations, but you did have verbal complaints and allegations, and then you did nothing about it. You didn't address those allegations.
I take your point, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perhaps lastly, this is 2016. Did the reports not continue throughout your tenure? The reports of this, what I've referred to as horrendous conduct, did those reports not continue? I would imagine if, as you have accepted, this is something that was systemic, it could not only have been in 2016 when you were appointed a municipal manager. The reports must have continued, not so?
Yes, if you look at the evidence of the victim,
yes,
the harassment coercion started in 2012, before I even became the accounting officer.
And did these reports continue throughout your tenure as municipal manager?
Obviously, they continued.
Throughout?
Obviously, they
so,
continued.
meaning from 2016 all the way to 2025?
Yeah, but
you were receiving these reports continuously and you did nothing about them? Save to create, what did you refer to it? Save to create the platform for them to be promoted, which does not, of course, address the issue we are raising. So throughout, from 2016 to 2025, you are continuously receiving these reports, which tell you that there's a systemic problem, and you do nothing throughout your tenure as municipal manager.
what I did, and I explained, Commissioner, that
Leave out, please.
we have
Yeah.
processes in council, and like even now, I struggled to serve the report of Chief of Police in terms of his misconduct. I struggled. I received a complaint.
I'm specific to the systemic problem of the horrendous conduct of the chief of police and other senior men within the EMPD who were sexually harassing, raping, coercing with a view to having sexual relations, junior women officers. That's my focus, not other issues which may have arisen and which you may have addressed. That's my focus, and my question is, there is this systemic problem of which you are aware because, as you've admitted, there are continuous reports on it, and you basically do nothing with that issue, that horrendous conduct from 2016 all the way up to the end of July 2025, throughout that period.
Commissioner, I take your point that just doing a program was not enough as an accounting officer while these things were systemic and happening. I take your point.
A more direct answer. So from 2016 to 2025,
Yes, I take your point.
you did nothing.
Yes, I take your point.
All right.
Except to create a platform for them.
All right, thank you.
Maybe, Commissioner, we need to understand the processes of council in terms of senior managers. We need to understand that you can't just take a report, because for you to deal with this thing, I must report to council that this is happening around a senior manager. And that report must be supported with a complaint. I know that from my side as an accounting officer, my hands are tied in terms of dealing with some of the issues. That's why I took a soft route of actually creating that program. I must write a report to council and say, Chief did 1, 2, 3, coercing, abusing, sexually harassing people, and so forth, because Chief accounts to me. Junior managers is Chief that must deal with that in the Department of MPD. But in terms of him as a Section 56 employee, he reports directly to me. He's the only person that I can deal with in the department. So for me to write a report about him that he is doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I must go to council, the very same politicians who are protecting him. I must go there. I'm trying to illustrate that as an accounting officer, your hands are tied, especially when you're a female, are tied in dealing with male chauvinism in local government.
I would understand that if you had done something and had been rebuffed, but for you to sit, fold your arms from 2016 to end of July 2025, I do not understand that at all. If you had done something, I mean, these are very serious allegations, Dr. Mashazi, very serious allegations, and please do not misunderstand us. Do not think that we are defending Chief Mapie and the other senior men that you are making allegations against. No, we are not. But it's more about what did you do about it, on the assumption that the allegations are true. What did you do about it? That's where we are.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you. Perhaps just to close out on that line of questioning, Dr. Mashazi, accepting the extent to which your hands were tied, as you have testified, is it fair then to accept that the pattern of abuse of women persists? There was nothing to stop it, so it persists and probably has gotten worse. Is that what you'd be telling this commission? No, you need to express yourself orally so that the machine can record your answer.
Yes, ma'am.
So it persists and it has worsened since.
I can't say it has worsened. I can say there's improvement immediately after I introduced and empowered them and made them understand that they are not sex objects. They are equally qualified to compete with these males
Yes.
for positions, and HR processes are pure.
Okay, now, I think it's incumbent upon me to tease out some aspects of your paragraph 50.1. As the chair pointed out, these are very serious allegations. The conversation that we've had so far relates to the pattern within the city. But paragraph 50.1 specifically points to Chief Mapie. It's personal, as against him personally. Now, for the record, this commission is not out to impugn anyone's name or to judge anyone's sense of morality. And I would like to believe that neither do you approach this commission with that kind of thinking. Accepting that you do not intend to unnecessarily impugn his name, I then want to unpack 50.1. You say, it has been widely reported to me that Chief Mapie fathered multiple children with subordinates who were vulnerable to his abuse of power. Firstly, you, in response to a question by Commissioner Kumalo, you said it's not mabaribari. It can be substantiated, it's factual. My question to you is, do you know the identities of those juniors with whom Mr. Mapie fathered children? Do you know that as a fact, or do you accept because it was communicated to you?
Unfortunately, I cannot mention the names of people here, but I know few of them.
Also,
Two of them.
you
I
can
cannot-
establish that fact.
Yes, yes.
And you may do so through your statement, if so required, your supplementary statement, if so required.
Exactly.
And how many children are we talking about?
I'm not sure about the number.
No.
The number here is said, just read my statement.
I'm at 50.1, your page 8.
Yeah. It said
You say fathers multiple children with
multiple
subordinate.
children.
Yes.
I never indicated the number. I'm not sure about the number.
As at the time it was communicated to you, how many women specifically confirmed this situation? How many?
I
To
do
your
not
recollection?
recall the number.
Was it 2 or 10 or 20?
I do not recall the number.
That bad, doctor?
Thank you.
I'm asking, it's a question. Is it that bad that you can't recall whether it's 2 or 10 or 20?
Remember, ma'am, I'm running 26 departments, and each and every department we have, in police only, we have more than 3,005 officials.
Accept
How
that.
do I remember all these things? I don't remember. I don't recall.
I
And
tease.
obviously,
Sorry.
I cannot be forced to say a number that I don't know.
I appreciate
And
that.
I don't want to lie to the commission, to be honest.
Indeed. I pressed for that because you are not talking about a particular pattern where seniors father children with subordinates. You are speaking of specifically one person. And you have just indicated to the commission that you can give detail regarding those cases in your supplementary. That would mean you refer to specific people who confirmed to you as a matter of fact that it happened to them. But you say you don't remember whether it was 2, 10, or 20. I am more concerned about the second part of that allegation, where this fathering of multiple children is through conduct amounting to sexual harassment, coercion, and rape. So, do I understand you correctly that some of those children were fathered following a rape by Chief Mapie? Is that your statement to the commission?
Can you repeat your statement?
You can't, we can't, because you are looking at your phone and you are reading something on your phone, so naturally you will miss many of the things that I say. So we're going to have to make a decision how we run this. You are either with the commission and you are testifying before the commission, or you'd like some time to attend to your phone,
I'm
which is
trying
going
to
to
get
be.
information from my phone.
No, if you
the
need
number.
time to get information, kindly address yourself to the commission and request the time, and the time shall be given to you. But when a question is
Apologies.
posed to you and you distract yourself by attending to your phone, I'm sure you'll accept that it won't particularly work.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's incorrect, and I apologize for that.
What is incorrect?
For me to be attending to my phone
Okay.
while the
No, sir.
session is on.
Apology accepted. The question was, the last part of that particular paragraph suggests that Chief Mapie fathered some, I take it, of these multiple children with subordinates through the act of rape. Is that what you're communicating?
Yeah, there's a rape case opened against him.
From which a child was born?
I beg your pardon?
From which a child was born?
There was no child born,
Okay.
but there's a rape case in terms of the testimony that is part of my bundle.
That's that's a clarification I sought. So I
Yeah.
should not read sexual harassment, coercion, and rape to relate to the fathering of children. These are two separate allegations you
Exactly.
made. Okay. And before we get there, because we will get there, that's what you call your question 13. The example you give in your statement is a complaint by one subordinate. Dare I ask you whether there are more, if you know for a fact that there are more? And how many? Or you don't recall?
I can confirm that there's one who came through.
Okay.
As I indicated that a group of them came and complained, but because there was no written statement and there was nothing, I was unable to act upon it. As I indicated that there are processes and my hands are tied in terms of reporting such behaviors.
Okay, I'll accept that. Now I want to turn to the allegation at 50.2. And once again, it's directed specifically at Chief Mapieye. And does not, or the Chief of Police, and I take it it's still Chief Mapieye, right? The Chief at the time. And once again, it is not an allegation to senior managers within the EMPD, it is specifically to Chief Mapieye. My question here is, you say you accuse him of defeating the ends of justice arising from repeated instances in which complaints of misconduct reports were not acted upon or were actively suppressed. You see where I'm reading, 50.2?
Yes.
So, you have complaints and misconduct reports that are not acted upon or were actively suppressed. I take it by Chief Mapieye. As the city manager, what did you do about that? Or were your hands tied again?
No, this time around, Chief Mapieye was involved in an accident in 2014 where he broke his arm. And in terms of what happened, he stays in Brakpan. I had to go and see him. He was driving under the influence of alcohol, and the scene was cleared. And IPIT never investigated this. And I think Advocate Kemu will talk more about the cases. Secondly, there was another accident. We'll get the case numbers, we'll send in terms of our statement, where Chief Mapieye was also involved in an accident under the influence of alcohol. And I am told that a child died out of that accident. And those were never... Second, the third one, Chief Mapieye, there was a woman whom he pushed, assaulted, and that woman opened the case, and subsequently, IP took the case from the city, and that woman was forced to withdraw the case, and she made a statement. The fourth one is about the rape case of the victim who requested to be interviewed by this commission. The rape case was opened in June, and Chief received a protection order. I think, I've forgotten the month, will indicate in our protection order against, because he was continuously going to the vicinity or to the area or to the place of this particular victim. She ended
Sorry
up,
to interject, you said June what year, please? If you
it's
recall.
20, I'm not sure, we'll get the dates.
Okay.
But the victim will talk to the story herself. She continuously went to the area. But what is important in terms of defeating the ends of justice, and Chief working closely with some law enforcement agencies, that nothing happens to him. It is actually concerning that the rape case is opened and nothing happens to him. The poor victim is suffering and nothing is being said. In-state council is actually interested in ensuring that Chief is cleaned up.
So she's?
The chief is actually cleared from this thing
Chief, yes.
because it was a battle for him to be suspended anyway. So my issue here is that if we have support from law enforcement agencies and from politicians, it means you are lucky. And lonely voices like ours, we do not get any support from anything.
Now,
Anyone.
Just a moment. Dr. Mashazi,
Yes,
just so that I don't understand you. What is the purpose of this section of your statement?
The purpose
I'm
is
trying to make sense of it because you have been invited to this commission to respond to allegations made against the Ekurhuleni Metro and EMPD and the extent to which you played a role in all those things. And then there is this section in your statement, and I'm not criticizing you. It is your statement. For my benefit, I'm just trying to understand. Is the purpose of this section to say that we must not believe the people who gave evidence here because they are also bad people? They have done the things you have mentioned in the statement. I'm trying to understand what the purpose of this section of the affidavit is and what we as the commission should do with it. So if you can just assist me there, and it's not a criticism, it's just so that I understand why we are dealing with the things that are mentioned in this specific section.
the purpose, obviously, is to highlight the behavior of the chief of police. He came here as a victim, and I don't know whether he disclosed, because I was not listening to the commission, he disclosed that he was suspended for sexual harassment. I don't know if he disclosed that. So it's to bring to the attention of the commission that in as much as he is suspended or he appeared here and he made allegation, for me, he's an aggrieved person. He's an aggrieved person. And that's why I'm making this statement that an aggrieved person would say anything to tarnish one's reputation or legacy. That is the purpose of the paragraph.
Thank you. Now I understand.
But sorry.
yes, Commissioner.
Yeah. I mean, in the back of that answer where you say you're telling us all of this to show us he's an aggrieved person, but your evidence is nothing was done to him from these things that you list. He got away with it. He used your words, he used law enforcement, and he's got counsel protecting him. So according to your evidence or your testimony, he suffered no consequence for the list of things that you are giving, except the suspension in 2024, and we'll come to that. But you've listed a number of things where you say there was no consequence. So how are these evidence or proof of grievance, these things that you are listing in paragraph 50, how can they serve that purpose if there was no consequence to him?
I think we discussed the issue of consequence management from my side, and I've explained that my hands are tight or were tight because I've been blocked through and through to deal with him. The process of dealing with senior managers, it is in the Systems Act. Senior Managers Systems Act, I think, is Section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act, where you are required to get an investigation report or an allegation first. And I write the report to the municipal council with all the attachment to council, for council to take a decision, because he's appointed by council through Section 56. So my duty was to write the report to council with all the attachment, but by then I did not have attachment. Hence, it is viewed, which I accept, that I did nothing. But here, I'm trying to, as I answered Commissioner, that the purpose of this is to bring to the attention of the Commission that Chief came here to actually air his grievance more than anything.
Okay.
But he has a lot to answer. But it is not for this commission to run a grievance process or to run a DC for individuals.
Yes. No, you are correct. It's not our place to run a DC, but you have put this stuff before us. So I think in fairness to you, we give you the opportunity to explain it where we don't understand. But also, I think in fairness to the people that you're naming, they need to know what it is you're saying about them. Which brings me to this. You say about 50.2, you say in 2014, he was involved in a motor vehicle collision where he drove drunk. At the time, you were the COO. Was this matter, as a Section 56 employee or appointment, the chief, was this brought to the attention of the council, and is there a record of it?
It was never brought to the attention of council.
Okay. And then you say there was another incident, again, drunken driving. What year was that? The second one?
I'm not sure. We'll get the information. As we said, we are going to substitute our statement.
I can still ask my question. Did you bring this second incident to the attention of the council as the city manager?
Of the council.
Yes?
Because I don't have the date, I don't want to respond much to that. We'll actually amend our statement, then that we can talk to that.
But you will remember surely sitting there whether you submitted a report to council or not. You may not remember date, but you would remember what you did about the first incident vis-a-vis council, what you did about the second incident. Surely that you must be able to remember.
Remember, accidents, they're reported, they're actually accident of police officers and brutality of police officers. It is the area of operation of IPIT. IPIT was supposed to do the investigation. And after the investigation, then, because he reports to me directly, they should give me a report and I should have done something about that. So if the report is not forthcoming from IPIT, I cannot go to council with empty hands and say, Chief did 1, 2, 3. That's why I'm saying to you and pleading with you that let me get the full report and then we amend our statement.
Okay, I accept that, but can we at least agree that driving under the influence of alcohol and damaging council property is disciplinable conduct, which falls within the municipality's remit? You accept that?
2014, I was not the accounting officer.
Yes, the next
and
incident?
I agree with you that rests with the council.
Okay. And the next one is the incident where you say he pushed a woman who broke her arm or something and ended up laying a complaint, I think you said, about her. Did you report? Did you do anything about that? It sounds again like disciplinable conduct. As his manager, did you do anything about it?
Yes, it was reported to council, and IPIT quickly took the report that they're investigating the case. Same as the second one for rape. To date, we do not have a report from IPIT.
Okay. So is it the position or is it your testimony that even conduct that on the face of it is disciplinable, is a misconduct in terms of the code of discipline and employment contracts, even that kind of conduct, you don't act on it until IPIT tells you you must discipline. You wait for IPIT.
No. Remember, the sexual harassment and pushing of that pregnant woman, it was part of my report to council for chief to be disciplined. Those two were part of my report. I did my job as an accounting officer.
And we should be able to get a copy of your report to council? Of
my report to council, yes. One of the reports is here for his suspension. So I think it's also important to get, I wanted to get my original item to the mayoral committee.
Yes.
To show the difference in terms of their decision and what I propose. Unfortunately, I can't get access to those documents.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just on that score, before we break for tea, You reference 4 cases. I'm correct that you say all of them were reported to IPID? No, the mic doesn't know when you're nodding your head, Dr. Masha.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So my question simply is, perhaps to invite you in the supplementary affidavit or statement to provide further detail regarding specifically these 4 cases. And my interest in them lies in the fact that the IPID failed to act thereupon. So it assists if we have the detail, then we can follow up with IPID to determine why it is these matters were not acted upon, although they were formally brought to IPID's attention. Would you be able to do that for us in the supplementary
We'll
statement?
try if we get information from council.
And on that score, I don't know, sitting here, whether you are able to, or perhaps in a day or 2 after you've conferred with your attorneys, in regard to the request I have made, whether you are able to identify documentation that you would potentially need to address that request. And if your attorneys could furnish that to us ASAP, and we see if we can obtain the documents on your behalf from the city.
We'll try.
We'll try, okay. And please add on then to that list, if I understood correctly, following the engagement you just had with Commissioner Baloyi regarding the assault and the pushing of the pregnant lady that you say you specifically reported to council. So if you could try and recall the time in which that happened to narrow our search within the Ekurhuleni Council to try and locate the report that you made to council.
Yeah, we'll try and
try.
get the information.
Thank you. And perhaps if you could indicate to us by Wednesday the nature of the documents that you require so that we try and locate them, because your agreement with the chair is that your supplementary will come in by Monday next week. Okay. Chair, might this be an appropriate time for a tea adjournment? Thank you.
Sorry,
Yes,
Mr.
Commissioner.
Before we break for tea, Dr. Mashazi, just to close off this paragraph, in paragraph 50.1, you mention, and I think I would like to be clear what it is you are saying in your evidence. You mention Lieutenant Colonel Tepa as one of the people that Chief Mapie referred to as his angels. You have also, in your explanation, said at some point she was put in to be one of your protectors by him. But it is in a paragraph where you speak about her. It's in a paragraph where you say Chief Mapie had children with subordinates who were vulnerable to his abuse of power, including conduct amounting to sexual harassment, coercion, and rape. Just to be clear from your evidence, are you saying that Colonel Tepa is one of the people that you refer to as subordinates that have had children with the chief, that have been the victims of his abuse of power, coercion, sexual harassment, and rape? Are you saying that about her?
I have explained that if you are called an angel, it means you are playing along. If you are not an angel, obviously you won't. If you are not called an angel, you will not play along with chief and agree to be abused, sexually abused.
I think we have to go past innuendo. This is very damaging if it is not backed up by facts. I'm happy for you to say it's fact, what you are saying about her, and you will give us evidence that backs it up. We won't stop you doing that. But if you're relying on innuendo because she's called one of my angels, and you say, therefore, she must have had an improper relationship with him, that is not permissible. So I'm asking you a direct question. Do you say it as a fact that Colonel Tepa had an improper relationship with Chief Mapie, and in particular, and maybe let me put it as specific as what I think you're suggesting, she had a sexual relationship with Chief Mapie? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
and you have evidence of that you will include in your supplementary statement.
Evidence of them having an affair. Did you ask for evidence from Xolani?
No.
Ngqiza?
No.
No,
Miss
ma'am, did
Dr.
you ask evidence from Ngqiza when he said, I have extramural activities with Mkhwanazi?
I'm asking you the question. You don't ask me questions. I ask you
Okay.
questions.
So I
You
have no comment.
May I please speak? You are a witness. You have to allow me to speak and I will give you the chance to answer. You make very serious statement about Colonel Tipper. I'm not speaking about anybody else at this point. I'm speaking about Colonel Tipper. You make a very serious allegation about her. And what I'm asking of you is, if you know as a fact, can we have it in your statement if it is a fact? Because Colonel Tipper will have to deal with this.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Colonel Tepa herself also, she said, I have a close relationship with Mkhwanazi. And I never, in the statement, you asking, or the commission asking them, that do you have evidence that I have a close relationship with Mkhwanazi?
Okay.
So it's the same answer, ma'am.
All right. Thank you for that answer.
Chair, before we stand down for tea, may I just ask one question to the witness? Dr. Mashazi, I understand, particularly with reference to your last answer, that it was suggested by one of the witnesses that you had a close relationship with Mr. Mkhwanazi. Do you equate that to a claim by you that a female member, subordinate, had a sexual relationship with their senior at work? Do you place those on par, those two claims?
I cannot comment on that.
No, you are the one making the statement, so I want to know whether are they the
But
same?
I don't want to comment on that, Commissioner. Thank you.
Okay.
For the record, Doctor, it was actually Commissioner Baloyi
Commissioner Baloyi.
who engaged Mr. Ngqiza on the nature of the relationship. So I'm just saying, for the record, it should become clear that the statement did not just pass without engagement. Commissioner Baloyi engaged Mr. Ngqiza to get an idea of what exactly the proximity, I think that's the word Mr. Ngqiza used, what exactly he meant by proximity. So Mr. Ngqiza was engaged on that issue, for the record. And also, a video was played in which Brigadier Mkhwanazi went so far as to say that he would die for you, he would take a bullet for you. So some evidence was led with regard to the nature of the quote-unquote proximity or the quote-unquote relationship, not suggesting a sexual relationship, improper relationship, or anything. So some objective evidence was led as to what, in the end, we will make of it. We will decide at the appropriate stage. So I'm just putting that on the record to make sure that you do not leave this commission saying that, as you were suggesting to Commissioner Baloyi, that there was no engagement at all with regard to the relationship that Mr. Ngqiza was suggesting.
Yeah,
May we take the adjournment at this stage? And resume at 11:25. Let's adjourn.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Ms. Sello.
Thank you, Dr. Mashazi. You may have a seat. Thank you. Chair, I'm about to turn to a new chapter. Is the previous one exhausted? Dr. Mashazi, we are now at your page 9 of your statement. And we start with the heading structure of the statement. You located that.
Yes, ma'am.
And just to, as you state in your paragraph 52, you say one of the documents furnished to your attorneys, which you attach as IM6, and IM6 is to be found at page 18. And you say this is a document you received, or your attorneys received on your behalf from the commission. I confirm for the record.
Correct.
That the evidence leaders generated that document and served it upon you. Attached to that document, you indicate that attached to that document was a specific list of issues to be addressed by yourself in your statement, and there's a total of 13 issues raised with you. So insofar as the structure of your statement is concerned, do you confirm that it follows the questions as listed, so you answer each question in turn? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to explain that to the extent that the commissioners might believe you are addressing yourself to an issue that they may for some reason deem irrelevant, that you are answering a question specifically posed to you by the evidence leaders. Okay. And if you may remember, if you agree with me or disagree with me, you don't nod or you don't shake your head, because the microphone won't pick up the answer. So just to remind you each time to please verbalize your answer. Against that understanding then, we turn to the first, what you call point 1, following paragraph 54. Are we there?
Yes, ma'am.
At point 1, you were invited to comment on the provisions of Section 64C2 of the South African Police Act Service Act of 68 and 1995, and to provide your own interpretation as city manager of the powers set out therein, insofar as they relate to the chief of police. You confirm that? Your answer to that specific question then starts at paragraph 55. If you could take the commissioners through your response.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I understand the SEFS Act 64C2 of 1995 is that the municipal council will appoint a municipal police service, and the executive head of that would be the chief of police, and the accounting officer will be the chief executive officer. Therefore, the powers of the chief of police are subject to the directive of the chief executive officer, which is the accounting office.
Okay. Apologies. You proceed then from paragraph 56 to reference the systems of delegations, and you have attached an excerpt from the Municipal Systems Act number 32 of 2000. That excerpt you have annexed as IM8, if you go to the annexures bundle. IM8 at page 29.
Yes, ma'am, I found.
Have you located it? Okay.
Yes.
Earlier, I referenced a series of files to your right, and at the time I suggested that you not concern yourself with. Those, for the record, are the complete bundles of the 4 witnesses who testified from EMPD, to wit, Chief Mapieye, Commissioner Spies, Mr. Ngiza, and Ms. Tepper. Those are the files to your right, together with their respective annexures. I indicated that I will refer to them from time to time, and they are marked on the spine with their respective names. Can you then pull out the statement of Chief Mapieye? It will be a file of statement and annexures. And in particular, I would like to refer you to page 7
Of the statement.
of the statement of Mr. Mapieye. And I refer to page 7, paragraph 21, for convenience purely, because Chief Mapieye quoted section 64C2 in full, which is the section that you are engaging with under this heading.
Yes, ma'am.
And you will see from that quotation that it provides that the executive head, and you'll confirm that the executive, reference to the executive here is the Chief of Police.
Yes, ma'am.
Subject to this act being the SAPS Act, and a few other prescripts, exercise control over the municipal service and shall, amongst other things, and then it lists, let's say, his powers and duties. Do you confirm that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do you confirm that section 64C provides that the Chief of Police is appointed by council and reports to council through the city manager?
That's correct.
With that understanding, therefore, kindly explain whether the section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act that you annex alters that position in any way. You remember, it doesn't. So the powers bestowed upon the Chief of Police as set out in Chief Mapiye's paragraph 21 remain unaffected by the provisions of section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act. I want, you either confirm or you don't. That's what I'm trying to test.
I don't.
You don't what?
I don't confirm.
Okay, what is the position, what is the impact in your understanding of section 56 on the powers of the Chief of Police?
Yeah, in fact, let me start by saying, in as much as there's a SAPS Act which deals with the powers of the Chief of Police, but the Chief of Police is appointed under the Municipal Systems Act, section 56. Therefore, the powers that is being given by the SAPS Act must be read with the powers of the Municipal Systems Act as a senior manager.
Yes.
As a senior manager. And also in terms of some of the, I know that there will be exorcism that systems of delegations cannot supersede the legislation, that I understand. But this is how the council works. Council is a third sphere of government, which is obviously autonomous from other spheres. All the spheres of government are actually autonomous to each other. For instance, in council, we have our own legislation, like your Municipal Systems Act, your Structures Act, the Municipal Finance Management Act, but we do take cognizance of certain acts that affect different portfolios within council, like your Health Act, which affect the social health and social development, and the SEFS Act that actually affects the operations of police. I hear some saying that the two acts must be read together. And in terms of the statement here that I usurped his powers, it cannot be true because I operate under the Municipal Systems Act and the council has approved delegations, and also Section 56 is clear in terms of the powers of the senior managers or the powers of the accounting officer. If it is his notion that I usurped his powers, unfortunately, I cannot confirm that and agree to that.
Thank you for that. You don't have it immediately before you. But I am going to read out some sections from the SAPS Act itself. And in particular, it's section 64, capital B, and it reads as follows, I quote, "The chief executive officer of a municipality shall be responsible to the municipal council for the functioning of municipal services, police service." You heard that. So he's accountable, is responsible and accountable to the council. Section 64C, sub 1, provides that subject to section 64D, a municipal council shall appoint a member of the municipal police service as the executive head thereof. You heard that.
Yes,
Based on that, do we at least accept that insofar as the SAPS Act is concerned, the chief of police is appointed by council and is accountable to the municipal council?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then I want to refer you to your annexure IM 8 at page 29 to point out whether the difference between the two sections, section 64C read with 64B and of the SAPS Act and section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act is as follows. If you could turn to your page 29 of the bundle.
Yes, ma'am.
The section you invoked is section 56, appointment of managers directly accountable to municipal managers. 56 sub 1 sub A provides a municipal council after consultation with the municipal manager must appoint Roman 1, a manager directly accountable to the municipal manager. In the context of what section 64B and C provide of the SAPS Act, that is not the chief of police, because the chief of police, we know from that act, is accountable to council. Would you have a challenge with that proposition?
The Municipal Systems Act, as I understand it, and the SEFS Act, as I understand it, it says the executive head, the head will be the chief of police. But in terms of his powers are subject to the chief executive officer, which is the accounting officer. And then in terms of this section 56(1), a manager accountable to the municipal manager, chief in terms of his employment or contract, which we will send with the team, he's appointed as a senior manager under the Municipal Systems Act.
I'm testing my understanding now of what you say. So therefore, because you say he's appointed in terms of section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act, he therefore becomes accountable to the city manager.
Yes.
And you suggest that we overlook the provisions of the SAPS Act, which makes him accountable to council.
Can you repeat your question?
My question is, based on what you've just said, and I'm checking whether I understand you correctly, that Section 56, and you say he's appointed in terms of that section of the Municipal Systems Act, makes him accountable to the city manager, Section 56.
Yes.
And you say that should be the prevailing section, and we overlook the fact that the Subs Act prescribes that the chief of police is accountable to council. Do we overlook the provisions of the Subs Act?
I'm not overlooking that particular Subs Act. Remember, the Subs Act is about the chief of police
Yes.
being the head,
Yeah.
and it refers to me as the chief executive officer, and that his powers are subject to my directive as a chief executive officer. Then when you go to Section 56, it is clear that even his employment contract, he reports to me directly. He doesn't report to council. He's the head of department of EMPD, to an extent that the current structure, organizational structure, that was done now by council, the chief of police position has been downgraded. There'll be a head of community services, like in the list of positions, the list of departments that I referred to in my statement. We no longer have a department of EMPD or Ekurhuleni Metropolis. It is under the head community services. He may not even be a police officer. He may be a firefighter. So these are two departments that have been merged. So I don't know how are we going to deal with these two legislations, because at some point, because of this confusion between the two legislation, I suggested to Chief in one of my statements that, Chief, because there is this gray area about the Subs Act in terms of your powers and the systems and the Municipal Systems Act, please create a policy for me. Create a policy for me. I don't know which, maybe at some point we'll go through it. Create a policy so that we avoid these gray areas in dealing with issues in the EMPD, because they are very peculiar. I'm not a police officer, and I do not deal with the Subs Act on a daily basis, and I don't deal only with the Metropolis. You can imagine that I have 26 departments, and they're all scattered within the city. Metropolis itself is in Kempton Park, like 50 kilometers away from the head office where my office was based. So it is important that these two acts, obviously, they are creating a gray area. Hence, I try to address it by requesting him to create a policy, because for me, it was a confusion.
Is it possible, and I put it no higher than that, that perhaps the error arose in his appointment by invoking Section 56? Is it possible that in appointing him, the council relied on Section 56
Yes.
when it ought to have relied on Section 64? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay. Now, you say you recognize the conflict between the two because they deal with an important issue, which is the final repository of the power. You have a legal department within the city, I accept. Is that correct? Did you inquire from the legal department, or did you request an opinion to address specifically that conflict? Because I don't see how the chief of police, who is not a lawyer, to my understanding, would have assisted you. Did you direct perhaps a request to the legal department?
Well, the issue of conflict in terms of this thing, the SEPS Act as well as the Municipal Systems Act will remain a gray area for council. It's council that is supposed to actually take into cognizance the existence of this act. And one may argue to say that this has been our general argument, that Chief was appointed under Section 56 of the Municipal Act, not under the SEPS Act. And he draws his salary from the Municipal Systems Act or from council, municipal council, that has created systems of delegations that, that is governed through the Systems Act. So it's something that needs to be addressed by council, to be honest.
I appreciate that, and thank you for that answer. My question really was whether or not you had turned at any point to the city's legal department to seek guidance as to the correct interpretation and approach. You hadn't.
Not yet. I only requested a policy from Chief to
Yes.
assist me in dealing with the challenges that we face between the Systems Act and the SEPS Act in terms of his powers.
Noted, and I raise this issue specifically, and I do accept that it's a tad technical legal interpretations, and I do appreciate any challenges you may have in that regard. But I raise it particularly because it informs a number of decisions that you subsequently took that we will be dealing with. And it was necessary that the steps you took or the responses you gave be placed in their proper context as to your understanding of what your powers were and what his, as the Chief of Police, were. You state then at your paragraph 58 that the Chief of Police's powers are subject to your directives. And that, if I go back to Chief Mapiea's quotation of Section 64C, you derive from what's quoted there, because it specifically provides, the executive head shall, subject to this act, national standards and the directives of the Chief Executive Officer of the municipality, exercise control over the municipal police service and shall, and then enumerates the powers granted him. Now you say those powers enumerated there, the Chief of Police must exercise subject to your directives. My question is, what impact did you understand any directives that you issued to have on those powers set out in 64? Does it strip the Chief of Police of the powers because you so direct? Or what is the impact of the directives? Because you say his powers are further subject to my directive.
Well, as I indicated that I work, I function, or I exercise my powers using the Systems Act. I am employed under the Systems Act, Section 54, and he's employed under the Systems Act, Section 56. So in terms of the powers, from those powers are actually interpreted as and when there are challenges. For instance, there was misunderstanding about the appointment, and I relied on the systems of delegations as well as the Systems Act. That, well, Chief, in as much as you are saying you are responsible for appointing from Deputy Chief of Police up to a cleaner in your department, it is not possible. Hence, Council has created systems of delegation. When is he going to do his work? When he must sit in the interviews of junior officials. So the systems of delegations, as approved by Council, is meant to assist senior managers to concentrate on the general performance of the department, on governance issues, and on strategic issues than on operational issues. So that's why I relied on the systems of delegations, because I'm actually subject to actually adhere to them, as well as him, because he is appointed under the Systems Act, Municipal System Act. He's not in the. Okay, let me stop there.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm interested in your understanding of the effect of your directives on the powers of the Chief of Police as listed, and I'll give you an example. Sub B of that Section 64, capital C, sub 2, stipulates that subject, of course, to the Act, to national standards, and directives of the Chief Executive Officer of the municipality, the Chief of Police shall be responsible for the recruitment, appointment, promotion, and transfer of members of the municipal police service. Police. And am I correct to understand that's a reference to men and women in uniform who are the police?
Mm-hmm.
So if the Act says he is responsible for that function, I want to understand, to get your understanding as to the effect of any directives you may issue as city manager on that power. Can you strip him of that power, as you understood things?
As I understand, I used the systems of delegation that actually explains the powers of the chief, which level can he appoint. He is, in terms of the systems of delegations approved by council, he is only responsible to appoint his deputies, and his deputies are delegated to deal with the lower levels and the executive managers, etc., etc. In terms of, I relied on the systems of delegation. In as much as there is this notion that I usurped his powers, but I worked with documents that council uses. Remember, we are both appointed by council. In as much as he has this sub-act that gave him powers. Hence, I said there is a gray area between the two legislation, which at some point council needs to actually acknowledge and correct some of these things. Remember, as an accounting officer, you are appointed in terms of the legislation, and you must abide by that legislation, which is the Municipal Systems Act, and also the systems of delegations, which are approved by council. I cannot go outside that in terms of my directive.
I understood. Thank you for that. But just to close on that topic, when we, at paragraph 58, at page 11, you state his powers are further subject to my directives. That is a reference to his powers in terms of the SAPS Act, not the Municipal Systems Act, correct?
Both.
Okay, I'll accept both. Can I try again then to say, what does your directives do to his powers? Can you change his powers? Can you strip him of his powers?
I can't.
Okay. So your directives would never have that effect, whether the powers derive from the Systems Act or the SAPS Act.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Can I just clarify
Yes,
this?
yes, Commissioner.
Dr. Mashazi, it requires a yes answer, and you can elaborate if you so wish. My understanding of your evidence is that to the extent that you participated in recruitment, appointment, transfers within the municipal police, you believe that you were acting in terms of the powers conferred upon the Municipal Systems Act and the systems of delegation. Whether you are right or wrong, that's a separate issue, but you believe that these two instruments permitted you to do that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Commissioner. I never participated in the employment of junior officials. I only participate in the appointment of HODs. That is a legislated powers in terms of the Systems Act, that the accounting officers shall be the chairperson of the panel to appoint senior managers, senior manager including chief of police. Then when you go to the delegations are clear. Then such powers from the municipal accounting officer are further sub-delegated to the HODs, which is now chief of police. Chief of police powers are delegated to appoint divisional heads, which are his deputies. Then further to that, I've attached a copy. Deputies are responsible to appoint the next level. So meaning at the inspector level, the lowest level, it will be your superintendent who are going to be delegated, who are delegated to appoint those junior officials. I do not sit in the interviews of junior officials, including the divisional heads. The divisional heads, chief sits there as the chairperson of those panels, including the appointment of General Mkhwanazi. He said there.
You say you did not take any powers away from him.
No.
You simply followed the Municipal Systems Act and the systems of delegation.
Correct.
So it was not you taking powers away from him.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, Commissioner Kwalo.
Dr. Mashazi, just to make sure that I understand, I'm looking at this delegation document at page 27 of the bundle. That's IM 7. I just want to make sure that I understand, I'm reading it correctly.
Can you raise your voice?
Page 27 of the bundle, it's IM 7.
Yes.
and I just want to make sure that I understand it correctly. So what you've got there is you've got in that shaded part, it says the HOD has the following, EMPD has the following assigned to him in terms of the applicable legislation. You see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you go to item 2 thereof, it says responsible for maintaining an impartial, accountable, transparent appointment, promotion, and transfer of members of the Metro Police Service. If you go to the column with delegation, where the heading is delegation, you see what I'm saying, where I'm reading? Am I reading it correctly to say that that power in 2, he exercises it in respect of divisional heads? Is that the way to read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then when you go to 3, item 3, which says responsible for recruitment, appointment, promotion, and transfer of members, subject to applicable law, that applies to divisional heads and executive managers.
Correct.
And then lastly, responsible for the discipline of the municipal police service, that applies to divisional head, executive managers, and managers. So he's got the power over those people.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, I understand. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Dr. Mashazi. That then brings us to the end of question 1. And I would then like to invite us to consider question 2. For that purpose, I think you can close the file containing Chief Mapiere's statement. You can put it aside to make some space for yourself. You deal, question 2 inquired from you as to your knowledge of and a role, if any, in the conclusion of 2 memoranda of agreement by Brigadier Mkwanazi on behalf of the city of Ekurhuleni, and invited you to give comments. Do you see that? I'm at page 11 of your statement. Verbal. Do you see where I am in your statement?
Yes,
And following paragraph 58. And you deal cumulatively with the question 2.1 and 2.2, because the one question was specific to the memorandum of agreement with Medicare 24 during or about October 2021, and the other one being item 2.2 dealt with memorandum of agreement concluded with CAT VIP protection during or about October 2021. You then provide your answer from paragraph 59 at page 11 through to 66. Would you like to take the commissioners through your response as regards any knowledge you had regarding the conclusion of these 2 documents and any role you played, if any, in the conclusion of the 2 documents? Thank you.
Thank you, SC. The document, the memoranda, the 2 memoranda that were signed by Brigadier Mkwanazi, to my knowledge, it did not come to the attention of my office, and I did not know the origin, and I did not even know that they were implemented. For me, it is irregular for the department or a junior official to enter into a memorandum or memoranda without the accounting officer. The memoranda obviously contained the issue of the donation and so forth, but for me it was illegal. It was not within his powers to actually enter into those memoranda.
You reference annexures IM 9 and IM 10, which appear in your annexure bundle, for, page 9 and page 31, my apologies, and page 32, respectively. Your bundle file.
I'm checking.
It should have your name on the spine and read annexures. Have you found it? It should have your name and a file with your name on the spine, headed annexures. And I'm referring you to annexures 9 and 10, which appear at page 31 and 32, respectively.
Page, apologies for
No,
that.
no, it's quite okay.
Page?
Page 31.
Yes. Page 31, yes, ma'am.
Please confirm that that is marked IM9,
Yes.
and it's an email with a name at the top, Liesel Tires. Is that where we are at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We are going to have regard to that document. And the following one, which is IM10, and then you annex the two memoranda as IM11 and IM12, respectively. Okay. Now, you indicate in your statement, and I think you have confirmed now, in oral testimony, that you had no knowledge of the conclusion of these documents, these memoranda. You played no role in their conclusion. You state at paragraph 63, the first time I saw, and at page 12, the first time I saw signed versions of the memoranda was on 26 November 2025. Is that correct? No, Dr. Mashazi.
I beg your pardon?
We have to be verbal in our responses.
Correct.
Thank you. Now, you specifically call them signed versions. Does that suggest you have seen unsigned versions?
Yes, I have.
Where have you seen them?
It was through communication between, I think it was in the iPad report. I don't recall, but we will check and verify.
Because you have annexed IM9 and IM10 at paragraph 65, and we said IM9 starts at page 31. That's an email. And this, as I read it, is an email from Jermaine Fortain. It's dated the 24th of October, 2021. Do you see where I'm reading? And it reads, "Good day, Lizelle. For attention, if the chief, I guess that's off. Draft proposal accepted by Medicare 24, yet to do some amendments." You see where I'm reading? Am I reading this correctly, that this particular email had attached to it the two memoranda? Sound. Yes, ma'am. Is it the two memoranda that were attached to this email?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you suggesting that that email forwarded the unsigned memoranda. Is that what you are saying, or am I misunderstanding you?
Yes, ma'am. As we indicated about the time constraint and the volume of evidence and statements, and as well as transcripts from the witnesses, well, our statement needs to be amended in terms of that, in terms of this particular sentence, and we would amend that.
Okay, for the record, just indicate the extent to which you'd like to amend that sentence, just to
Yes.
place it on record.
That we first saw the signed one, but to be honest, the question that you posed to me is, was I aware
Yes.
of the memoranda? And my answer was that I was not aware, and also it was irregular for the department to enter into that. But in terms of how and when, which one was signed in terms of the iPad report, whether it was signed or not, I cannot give you a definite answer. That's why I'm saying we'll go back and recorrect.
Okay, because you attach at paragraph 64, the two signed memoranda, marked
Yes.
annexed to IM 11 and 12. Am I understanding you correctly that IM 11 and 12 are the signed versions that you first came to learn of on the 26th of November, 2025,
Exactly.
when they were presented to your attorneys?
Yes.
Okay. Then, does that suggest that you were aware of unsigned versions?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able, firstly, where did you obtain the unsigned versions, if I may inquire?
I don't remember. Yes, I'm saying that because of the time constraint,
Yes.
it was difficult for us to get information anyway. And as I indicated during our session, that when you request document, you are requested to go through the POPI Act and so forth and so forth. So the time given to us, it was definitely difficult because at some point we requested some document and we told that we must apply. My attorney must apply. And I'm expected to appear and give proper evidence in terms of my testimony.
Okay. Then the annexed IM 11 and IM 12, which you say you obtained from the commission, attached, are both signed and date by above the name J.D. Mkwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. And I'm looking specifically at page 42, 35 and 42 of the two annexures. You see that?
Yes, ma'am.
At page 35, it's the conclusion of the first memorandum. There's a signature there that has been redacted. It's J.D. Mkwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. The second memorandum, JM 11, starts at page 37, and page 42, once again, has got a redacted signature, and above the name J.D. Mkwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. And these are the documents that you say you obtained from the commission. Both of them are dated, partly dated. No, they are not dated. They reference, however, an effective date of 10/2021. Do you accept that, just from the
Yes,
document
I do.
itself?
Yes, I do.
So we can accept that these would have come to your attention at the earliest in October 2021, at the very earliest, not before. Do you accept my logic?
I don't.
They are dated October 2021. They would suggest that they would not have been in existence prior to that date.
Yeah, they were never brought to my attention, as I indicated. Whether they are dated 2021, he signed them in 2021, or all I'm saying is I don't want to get into details of when was it signed, the draft, and so forth. All I want to respond to, according to my knowledge and according to my understanding, is that the two documents were never brought to my attention. This is the practice from the Department of Metropolis, not the city itself, because if I was aware of such memoranda, I was going to take action, to be honest, because it is irregular for a department to enter into any relationship with external service provider without the knowledge of the accounting officer.
And my question was informed by your statement that you had seen the unsigned version of these memoranda, and I was trying to determine, and for that we will have to rely on your memory, as to when that could possibly have been that you saw unsigned memoranda.
Can you repeat the question?
I say my question regarding these two is informed by what you stated, paragraph 63. You said the first time I saw signed versions was when you obtained them from the commission. I had asked you a question, that's whether it is correct to understand, that means you have seen unsigned versions, and you confirmed that. So I wanted to determine when that could possibly have been that you saw unsigned versions of these two memoranda.
I think it was during the IP report. I'm not sure, hence, ma'am, I'm saying, can we be given an opportunity to go and confirm?
I'm happy to do that, I don't have a challenge, but I just
Okay.
want to know what opportunity we are giving you.
Yes.
Yes, are we giving you an opportunity to go test whether or not the unsigned, you saw the unsigned memoranda in the IPID report?
Yes,
Or whether you saw them elsewhere?
yes.
Okay. But to your, as a guesstimate, you would say it's most probably the IPID report, although I will not hold you to that answer until you have cross-checked.
Okay.
Okay. And you conclude that section by saying you had no knowledge of these memoranda, or either one of them. You don't even know, I'm now at paragraph 65, whether they were ever implemented, and you confirm that you did not play any role whatsoever in their conclusion. That's correct. And you then invite the commission to turn to Chief Mapieye and Brigadier Mkwanazi to explain how these memoranda came into existence and how they were signed.
Correct.
Thank you. That then concludes your response to the second question as regard. Yes,
Mr.
Commissioner?
Before you leave this section, Dr. Mashazi, around February 2023, there was a media inquiry from a News 24 journalist, where that journalist was asking about the very memoranda we are discussing under this section. Did you, at that stage, become aware of that inquiry?
It is true that I had that interview with the journalist. His inquiry was about the investigation, the internal investigation, not actually the memoranda, the two memoranda. It was about the investigation and the discipline, the investigation from IPID. What was my understanding? What have we done with the IPID report? That was the basis of the interview with the journalist.
No, I'm not asking about the media interview you had. I'm asking about inquiry from a journalist called Jeff Wicks on 2 February 2023,
Yes.
which was addressed to EMPD or Ekurhuleni, where the subject of the inquiry was this very memoranda that we are discussing now.
Unfortunately, I did not deal with that particular inquiry. And even the investigation, it was between the HR and a chief of police as well as HOD legal. I think he's going to speak more about it, the HOD legal, because he's the one who went through the process with the chief of police. And he's the one who went through that, and he further complained about the leakage of information. So I cannot comment on that.
And then the IPID report, because you say in 61.1 of your statement that it was presented to you by officials of IPID on or about September 2023.
Yes.
So it was presented to you.
The IPID report, yes, was presented to me.
And am I correct that the IPID report recommended that the city of Ekurhuleni must charge Julius Mkwanazi?
Agree.
And the subject of those charges was this very memoranda that we are discussing, that he had entered into this memoranda with CAD Security Services. That was the recommendation from IPID.
Yes, sir.
And you did not act on that recommendation. In fact, you either disregarded it or you chose not to comply with it. I don't know which is which.
In terms of the IPID report, the IPID report was presented. Number one, it was sent to Chief of Police to action because Julius, by then, he was a director. So I did something because the allegations contained in the IPID report were very gross. I acted by referring the report to Corporate and Legal and Chief of Police, because Chief of Police is mandated in terms of the SEPS Act to actually discipline members And Julius being one of his subordinates, he was supposed to do that. Even when you look at the IPID report, I don't know, I have it somewhere, where they write to him to implement or to discipline Julius. So from my point, I did something as an accounting officer by referring it, because it's a legal document, I referred the document to HOD Legal, who later informed me that the document is incomplete, and he has advised chief or whatever that they cannot take action on this document, rather let them do the internal investigation. But from my part, I do not participate in the discipline of junior officials. My part was for me to accept the report and refer it to the relevant officials who are responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi in terms of his relationship, and also the memoranda that he entered into, the blue light story, the registration of vehicles. Those things were dealt with at the departmental level.
So, as city manager, when you become aware that at departmental level, in the face of such serious allegations, they have not taken any action against Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, did you just wash your hands? Once you became aware that they have not done anything in the face of such serious allegations, what was your part then?
When I became aware, can you repeat the question?
You say you referred them to the department.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an IPID report. It recommended that Julius Mkhwanazi be charged.
Mm-hmm.
You referred it to the department for Mapiaya to do something about it.
Yes.
You also referred it to legal to have a look at it.
Yes.
And we know nothing came of either the Mapiaya process or the legal process. Now you as city manager, in the face of such serious allegations that impact the city of Ekurhuleni, its credibility, its processes, because you've just said to us, if they entered into those memoranda, that's irregular and you would have done something about it. Now I'm saying to you, when they did not do anything about it, what did you as city manager do? These are serious allegations, Dr. Mashazi. You can't have a situation where a security company that has no relationship with the city of Ekurhuleni brings cars to Ekurhuleni and they are registered in the name of Ekurhuleni, and then they are given back or they are never handed over to the city of Ekurhuleni. And then that very security company uses blue lights. And they use those blue lights because there's supposedly a memoranda concluded between Ekurhuleni and that security company authorizing them to make use of blue lights. I mean, those are serious allegations. And to me, it's not good enough to say, I referred it to Mapiaya, I referred it to head of legal. When they did not do anything, I also did not do anything. I find that very difficult to accept.
Okay, I take your point.
You have a comment?
No comment. We'll have a discussion with my attorneys around it.
Yeah, Dr. Mashazi, maybe on this particular discussion, I know it's ahead in your statement somewhere, but maybe when you want to reconsider and discuss with your attorneys, you may want to have a look at your paragraph 91 in the statement, because in that paragraph 91 of your statement, in that paragraph you tell us who you referred the IPID report to. And now you're saying something different. And maybe take that into account and see what you want to do with it. When you consult with your lawyers, you tell us that you referred it to Kemi Behari, and now you mention Mapiaya, and you haven't mentioned him in respect of this report.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Isaac Mapiaya, in terms of the IPID report and in terms of his responsibility, he was supposed to discipline Julius. he was supposed to discipline him. 2, I referred the item to the report to Kemi because he's a lawyer. And I think it is our processes that any legal document must be sent to the head of legal to actually peruse and give the accounting officer an opinion
Yes.
on how to move forward. But the responsibility still lied with the chief of police to discipline Julius.
Yes. So did I mishear you then? Because I thought you said you referred the report to Mapieye and Behari. Did I mishear that
You
part?
misunderstood. Thank you, sorry, ma'am. Thank you so much. The report was directly sent to Mapieye from the IPT. They wrote to him as the chief of police to discipline Julius.
Yes.
And later the report was presented to me, and I found the report to be problematic in a sense that there were serious allegations. That's why I sent the report to Kemi and for Kemi to actually advise me in terms of moving forward the report.
Okay. Like I said, it's a topic later on, so I would like to explore it further.
Okay,
so
sure.
I'll pause there for now. But maybe before you leave the topic you were discussing with Ms. Sillo, I just wanted to make a correction factually. At the bundle now, not the statement, the other bundle, at page 31, those emails, I think you and Ms. Sillo have said that the attachments to that email are the 2 memoranda. And maybe let's look at the memoranda and then I'll make the correction that I think needs to be made. And then you can say if I'm correct or not. So in that bundle, the 2 memoranda start at page 33. The first one is the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan and CAT VIP protection. That's at page 33, you see that. And then the next one is at page 30, just if you would just hold on for me.
37.
The next one is at page 32, I think. 32, yes. And it's Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department and Medicare 24, Emergency Medical Services, / Anubi Protection Services. You see that? You see
Commissioner Baloyi, for the record, may I correct? The second one is at page 37, not
Oh,
page
I
32.
do apologize. Indeed, page 37. I'm sorry. So you can see the one at page 37. It's different parties except for the Metropolitan. The other party is different. At 37,
Yes.
it's Medicare and Anubis Protection Services. So it's a different protection services company. You see that? Okay. The correction I thought needs to be made is if you now go back to page 31, keeping in mind what I've pointed out now, if you go back to 31, that email there, the attachment is described as pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU. You see that?
Yes.
In fact, the subject ahead of that is pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU draft 1, and then the next one says EMS and EMPD MOU. None of these headings refer to CAT Protection Services or Anubis Protection Services. You see the point I'm making?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So it seems that we are talking about one memorandum that was attached and not 2. And then the second point I just wanted to make sure we establish for the record is when you say the memoranda, you saw memoranda that were signed and you are referring to these 2, the only signature that appears there is of Brigadier Mkhwanazi and no one else.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner. Perhaps we take a slight step back, and I want us to address specifically the correction that Commissioner Baloyi suggests be effected. And for that purpose, I would like to refer you to Annexure IM 10. At your statement, paragraph 62, You state that these, plural, memoranda were sent to Office of Chief Mapie in October 2021, but were not brought to my attention. Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you say, I attach here to Annexure IM 9 and IM 10 an email and affidavit confirming that the memoranda, in the plural, were sent to the chief on or about October 21st. Now, if we turn our attention then to IM 10, IM 9 is the email, IM 10 is the affidavit that you reference. Correct?
Correct.
On my reading of IM 10, that is a statement on a City of Ekurhuleni letterhead written in the form of an affidavit and signed by, it states, Liesel Tyers, Personal Assistant, Office of the Chief of Police, Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department, City of Ekurhuleni, and it's dated the 17th of August 2023 at the bottom. You see where I'm reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I want us to go to paragraph 2 of that document, that affidavit. The first paragraph of that paragraph 2, there are 2 subparagraphs there. The first reads, I can confirm that I received the mentioned document via email from Superintendent Jermaine Fontaine, dated Sunday, 24th October 2021, and calls it a pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU draft 1. C, then it says C annex, attached annexure B. Then the second paragraph reads, I can confirm that I have received a second email with attachment MOU memorandum of understanding from Superintendent Jermaine Fontaine on the same date, about a few minutes later. The first, the email is supposed to have gone through at 16:09. The second one at 16:13. And the subject, once again, is pre-final EMS and EMPD, and says it's annexure C. You are not the author of this affidavit. You are not the author of this affidavit. I'm going to give my interpretation of what is written here, and I'd like to invite yours. I understood the affidavit to speak to 2 distinct documents. Was that your impression as well on its reading?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, if you accept that these are 2 documents, both of which are memoranda of understanding, do you still intend to effect the correction that Commissioner Baloyi suggests? Because your statement speaks to 2 distinct memoranda, and you say, though the signed versions of those memoranda that are referenced in this document are what we now call IM 11 and 12, which you received from the Commission. So if I can take you back, are we talking about one memorandum here, insofar as both this email and that you have attached and the affidavit that you have attached, or are we speaking about 2 documents?
Yeah, the memoranda that we're talking about, there are 2.
Yes.
One is for the Medicare and one is for the CAT VIP security services.
And you maintain those are the 2 documents that you say are referred to in this affidavit. Can I inquire, even just on a reading of it, this affidavit was not communicated via the email that is attached as EM10, because EM9, because that communicates the memoranda. Where did you obtain this particular affidavit from?
Ma'am, I'm not sure.
No, you don't recall.
And I don't recall, and hence I said we were struggling to we got information from this one.
Okay.
So it is difficult for me to actually indicate the source of the document. But the document obviously is from the EMPD department.
Yes. No, I accept that response. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner.
Can I, Dr. Mashazi, I'm not suggesting that in the final analysis it's going to be of any big moment. I just wanted the factual correction. If you look at that same affidavit that Ms. Sillo is pointing you to, The first paragraph she read refers to an email at 1609, which contains one memorandum, and then another one at 1613. It contains a different MOU. Now, the email from Ms. Fontaine at page 31 is at 1609. So we know from the affidavit that it contained one memorandum. That's all I wanted to correct, because I had understood the exchange between you and Ms. Sillo to be that Ms. Fontaine had attached to this email at page 31 two memoranda. So I was just making that correction. You see the correction I was making?
Yes.
That what she has attached at 31 is in fact the one memorandum at 1609.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sillo.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I think the correction is correctly pointed out, because in terms of the affidavit, there are two distinct emails. The Times reference there speaks to two different emails. Because you had already started this topic with Commissioner Khumalo, perhaps it's appropriate that we then jump ahead on in your statement to close this IPID investigation issue regarding the use of the blue lights and the conclusion of these two memoranda. You understand? So I'm going to jump ahead. Rather than park it, drift into yonder somewhere only to come back to the same issue. May I suggest that we run ahead and look at page 21. At page 21, you answer question 10. And specifically, the failure to implement the directives by IPID to initiate disciplinary action against Brigadier Mkhwanazi. You see where I'm reading? Mm-hmm. To help you, or to help us all to understand exactly what we are talking about, please try and locate Chief Mapie's annexure bundle, and that's where we will locate the actual IPID report. Chief Mapie's bundle. And I would like to refer us to JM19, starting at page 101. Have you located it? When we keep saying the IPID report, that is the document we are talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you recall that Commissioner Khumalo said IPID specifically recommended that disciplinary steps be taken against Mr. Mkhwanazi. And that recommendation appears at page 103 under the heading IPID recommendation.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is the report you received. Mm-hmm. And Commissioner Khumalo wanted to understand the failure to act on that recommendation. Correct? Your failure, specifically as a city manager. That's the question that Commissioner Khumalo had posed to you.
I don't agree that I did not act. I
Okay.
indicated that receiving this document, I acted. And the person responsible to discipline Mkhwanazi is the Chief of Police.
Okay.
I wish the Commission could understand how council works and how the systems of delegations work. And in terms of the SEPS Act, the Commission is aware that the discipline of members in the EMPD relies solely on the Chief of Police. And if the accounting officer had to actually sit in all the DCs of junior officials in this 26 department, how will the accounting officer discharge her duties, especially her strategic duties, governance, service delivery and performance of the city in general?
Okay. Now, Commissioner Kumalo also referenced, I think, an interview you had where you spoke about this issue, specifically that there was an IP report regarding these matters that was not acted upon. You recall that interview?
Yes.
And I would like us to play that clip and then to appreciate the response you gave to the journalist at the time. It should come up shortly.
If there are, but we believe that there's more money that is still sitting within Sinten.
The iPad report for us was very vague, and I was unable to discipline anyone. We had to take that iPad report to our investigation. We appointed an independent investigator through the internal audit, and the report was out. We'll